Thanks for spending time with us here today on Our Lives. I'm Gwen Edwards. A lot of families feel like the economic rug has been pulled out from under them. A lot of area nonprofit groups are feeling that way as well. They're doing everything they can to keep the lights on. Bob Arnold of Fairfield is the CEO of Family Centers. And Bob, welcome first of all.
Thank you.
And Family Centers is Stanford-based, it's a nonprofit, and it provides a wide array of services. Why don't you tell us about the organization?
Yeah, Family Centers provides services from early childhood education and Head Start all the way up to senior support programs and everywhere along the developmental continuum. So we work with a lot of specialized populations, and annually we see about 18,000 people in one way or another.
And that's in the Stanford area or surrounding areas?
Well, it's all in greater Stanford, but some of our programs reach up into Norwalk and the eastern part of the county as well.
And the need that you see daily is getting more challenging.
It's enormously more challenging. And just to sort of echo what was said a little earlier by Susan, and part of what happens is if you think of the safety net that exists for vulnerable people across Fairfield County, the funding for that safety net is like a three-legged stool. There's government funding, there's private charitable dollars, and then there are some fees that are paid by the people who use the services. The reason it's so difficult right now is because with this economic situation, all three legs of the stool have been hit really hard.
And that's what makes this downturn different.
That's what makes it different. In the past 3 decades, we've had other little downturns, but we've never had one where all three legs of the stool are getting knocked out at once.
So we're seeing cuts in government spending and state budgets, and it's making your job a lot harder.
It's making our job incredibly harder because the numbers of people looking for our programs and our help is swelling. I'll give you an example. We've had a program for a decade now for people who are trying to become self-sufficient economically. It's called Reaching Independence Through Employment. That program has worked with a lot of people who first were coming off of public assistance or had special issues and had a hard time connecting with a job. Now we're seeing a lot of people pouring into that program who have been employed, who have had jobs for many years, and now find themselves without a job and not really capable of reconnecting with employers because they've either been in a job a long time and haven't interviewed lately, or the kind of work that they did is no longer available in the region. So they're turning to programs like ours.
Are you seeing a lot of people who at one time were donors now becoming those who are coming to you asking for need?
Yes, we clearly are seeing people who were donors, not necessarily on a large scale, but who contributed, and because they contributed, they knew of us and our services, and now they're coming and having to use our services.
And oftentimes it's the minorities who are hit the hardest.
Absolutely. We have a lot of minorities living on the edge of poverty in Fairfield County, and there's a trickle down when the economy tightens, and minorities end up, if they're of a low income group, at the bottom of that trickle down.
And one of the things I've heard is that a lot of people feel, oh, Fairfield County's rich, and it's even happening with Stanford, for example. They don't see as much money coming from Hartford for programs like schools because a lot of people feel Fairfield County's rich. Do you see that as well?
Well, absolutely. We have always had a perceptual problem within the state around state funding for Fairfield County because Fairfield County, again, has the reputation of being the Gold Coast. But the thought that there are companies down here that are just handing out money for services is a fallacy. It hasn't happened, and it doesn't happen. There certainly are a lot of generous people here. But again, on the charitable giving side, last year we saw a pullback because a lot of individual givers who had capacity saw their funds shrink. If they have personal foundations, those foundations shrunk. Some people with very large bonuses who gave a lot of money saw those bonuses shrink. So there was a real contraction in the charitable giving area. people tried hard to maintain charitable giving. But the other thing is, as government funds contract, we're barely keeping pace with charitable giving. We can't expect that charitable giving will come in and make up for the differences.
Thank you, Bob, so much. And steps are being taken to ensure the survival of Fairfield County nonprofit sector here. We'll hear all about that when Our Lives continue, so stay with us. We'll be right back.